Overnight, U.S. forces carried out their 13th straight night of strikes on Iran. They targeted command centers, drone storage facilities, and other Iranian military targets. Tehran has retaliated, saying it launched military attacks on U.S. military facilities in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. There are also reports this morning of explosions near a military base hosting U.S. forces in northern Iraq. In fact, we've got this footage just into us from Erbil in northern Iraq, which appears to show Iranian attack drones being intercepted and exploding midair. That's near the city's international airport. Now, the fighting and recent claims from Yemen's Houthi rebels that they attacked Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea, it's all pushed global oil prices back up. Yesterday, Brent crude rose to more than $100 a barrel for the first time since May. And speaking to Axios yesterday, President Trump threatened to further escalate the conflict, warning he is considering ordering an attack on Iran that is, quote, bigger than ever before. Let's bring in CBS News politics reporter Kathryn Watson in our Washington bureau for the latest on all of this. Good morning, Kathryn. Tell us about these concerns over the pace at which U.S. interceptor, I understand, and precision-guided weapons are being used.
Good morning, Errol. Yes, sources have told CBS News there's real tension in the Trump administration about the rapid pace at which the U.S. is using up some of its most advanced air defense interceptors and precision-guided weapons. And U.S. officials told CBS News the U.S. simply can't sustain the rate of expending munitions that it has in Iran. And that's raising broader concerns, Errol, about whether America is ready for a possible future conflict, specifically whether the United States could go toe-to-toe with China and win if it had to. And look, the concern isn't only about munition supplies currently. Some outside the administration have been raising alarm bells about the United States' ability to ramp up defense production capacity. Looking back toward the end of World War II, the United States defense production abilities were just staggering. We're talking about 100,000 planes built in a single year by 1944. And so many U.S. companies at the time across all types of industries were involved. Fast forward to today, and just a handful of companies are really part of the core defense industrial complex, and it takes a while to ramp up production. That isn't something the U.S. has had to do at a large scale in a really long time. If you look at the war in Ukraine, when Russia launched that war, many experts expected it to be over in a matter of weeks or months, if not days. But the Ukrainians were really creative and resourceful in their ability to acquire and produce weapons really quickly. They adapted, and in their ability to carry out drone warfare. So it's not only the United States' supply of weapons that's a concern, but also its ability to ramp up production when it needs to.
Yeah, it's really interesting and important point when it comes to how a nation continues to fight a war. Katie, there's also been confusion lately around war casualties. Figures reported on the Pentagon's casualties website hadn't matched the running tally. What's happening there?
Yeah, this is something the New York Times first reported. On Wednesday, the Pentagon's website said a total of 18 American service members had been killed during the war in Iran. But by yesterday, the Pentagon said 14 Americans had been killed in the war. Sources told the Times those 4 service members died after the ceasefire was declared. And the Pentagon's acting press secretary said those changes were due to temporary data disruptions that will be fixed. But as of a little bit earlier this morning, it had yet to be fixed. Another thing to mention, earlier this week, my colleagues reported that dozens of American service members have been injured in these multiple Iranian airstrikes on bases in the Middle East in the last week. So the full toll is even beyond the death count. Errol?
All right, Kathryn in Washington, kicking off our hour. Katie, thank you.